One.
Welcome to episode 18 of the Warrior Pulse podcast. Today I'm with a crew, the executive committee, 3 out of the 4 of the executive committee of the PBL. We're going to find out what PBL is. The 4th member of that executive committee is actually running this podcast, so she's behind the camera. So we're going to introduce Isaiah, Hunter, and Paula. They are all seniors here at Weber International. Oh, nope, junior. Sorry, Isaiah's a junior.
Yeah.
The baby face. We're going to talk about how they're involved in PBL, how they got into PBL, what PBL is, all that good stuff. So we're going to start with Hunter. Hunter, how are you doing and where are you from?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm from Ocala, Florida.
Okay. And how did you end up at Weber?
I came to Weber to play basketball and get that college experience.
Fantastic. What's your, you play basketball, what's your discipline that you do in basketball? What's your position?
I'm a shooting guard.
Shooting guard, all right. Paula, you're from El Salvador? San Salvador, sorry. No, El Salvador.
El Salvador.
San Salvador in El Salvador. You don't play sports. You are a traditional student at Weber, which is one of the rarities on this campus. We are so engrossed in our athletic. How did you end up at Weber from El Salvador, and what do you do for fun?
Well, I ended up at Weber through an idea scholarship, which is a company, like recruiting company that basically just gets your information, sends it out, and then I had to choose within a list of schools, and I finally chose to come to Weber. And because I have a lot of free time, quote unquote, because I don't do sports, I work as a tutor, and I also work at the bookstore at Weber. And I also, in my free time, I like to read sometimes.
So what kind of books do you like to read?
Right now I'm reading the Divine Comedy. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. And then lastly, in the group we have Isaiah. Isaiah, you're from Ocala as well. I have to know, did you know Hunter before you came to Weber, and how did you end up here?
Me and Hunter kind of met at orientation, but we did play against each other in high school. I came to Weber because the coach reached out to me, wanted me to come check out the school, and when I came to visit, I just kind of fell in love with the place. So.
Was it the lake? Did you come for a tour during sunset? How did that work? Like, I mean, the sunsets here are fabulous. So, and I'm amazed at how many of the guys are like, "Have you seen the sunsets here?" So, what was the selling point?
Unfortunately, it wasn't at sunset, so it's kind of during the day, but definitely the small community they have at the school, and definitely the view. Definitely the view.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask Hunter and Isaiah, which one of you guys won when you played one another?
We won. Definitely won.
Okay.
And Hunter has a huge smile on his face. So, what we're here for today is the executive committee wanted to take some time and talk about PBL and the importance of it on the Weber campus. It's actually, my brother's a graduate of Weber, and he also was involved in PBL, and he competed on the state and national level, and it was a big thing. And honestly, I didn't really understand what PBL was. So, which one of you guys wants to explain kind of what PBL is and how it is on this campus?
PBL is a national club that gives students the ability to compete academically against each other at the state level and at the national level. And it also gives you the experience to meet other individuals and network and just grow relationships that are going to last long beyond graduation. And you get to meet other people who are going into business, and you can help one another grow.
Sweet. By the way, Hunter is the current president of the PBL chapter here on campus. Give a couple data boys and data women for Hunter's the Phi Beta Lambda. That's what PBL stands for. I was always trying to figure out, like, what does PBL mean? Like, I know it does business, but I could never figure out, but it's Phi Beta Lambda. He's the current president. He's also in the honors program. He is also, as a basketball player, he was an all-conference in 2019 and 2020. He was an NAI scholar athlete, 19 and 20. He's also a Rotaract Club member, which as a Rotary member and the current president of Rotary Club, I think that's really cool, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And you're also a PBL Social Media Challenge second place winner when you guys compete, and we're going to talk about those competitions a little bit. Isaiah is the vice president of membership for this year, and I'm guessing that being a smaller community, sometimes it's tough to get those members involved.
Oh yeah, definitely. It takes I would say, eager more to go after people and see if they want to join and continue in seeing what they want to do.
Okay. You're also you were a Rotaract member from 2019 to 2020.
Correct.
You had 3 competitions. You did second place in personal finance, third place in contemporary sports issues, which that's kind of a cool issue. That's a kind of cool
Yeah.
topic. And you were 4th place in macroeconomics. So how much time does it take when you're doing these competitions? How much time does it take to devote to that on top of basketball and schoolwork and, you know, some social life?
Time management is definitely key, especially when you have a lot of competitions, a lot of tests and stuff like that. So I kind of had to block off every test I had to study for.
Okay. And Paula, you are the vice president of the chapter this year. So you're also on the honors program, and you're still on the honors program, and you're also on the dean's list all the way through. And you also were a Rotaract member from 2018 to 2019. Hold on, and you also did management concepts. You finished 5th place in the state competition. But how do all 3 of you? How does PBL and Rotaract work together? And I'm gonna let you take that, Paula.
My roommate and best friend at Weber at the time, my roommate too, she was into Rotaract, and her boyfriend too, he was the president. And so they were into PBL too, so they dragged me in. And then eventually I got into the honors program, which also is related to PBL. And, you know, through the experiences and that, I decided to stick with PBL. I really liked it, so now I got more involved into it by being vice president.
So let's dive into the PBL itself. We talked about your accomplishments, all of you, and your successes in the competitions. But what do you do week in, week out, and what's the point of joining? Why would anybody want to join PBL? And I don't care which one of you answers it.
Well, PBL, we have different events on campus. We try to get the students involved and see what PBL is actually about. We get ready for competitions to show what Weber is actually about.
Okay.
And definitely want people to realize that we're serious in this competition.
When you're in part of PBL, do the competitions, the things that you compete in, are they part of your academic resume for when you graduate and you're going for jobs, or is it just for the fun of mastering this discipline in another academic way?
I would say this is definitely something you would put on your resume
Okay.
to show that you're very well versed in your knowledge in that area, that you were able to compete at a state level and beat the hundreds or even 1,000 other people who did that. And even at the national level where the top competitors are, if you place there, there's firms that sponsor and there's money involved, and it's a very huge deal to win.
So it's a resume builder and maybe a job getter.
Yes, sir.
Is what you're saying. When you guys go to the national level events, are you competing against school names that we would have heard about? And what's it like being from this itty school and competing against really, really big schools?
Yeah, it's I think there's Miami-Dade College, and I mean those schools are considerably more big. I think FIU also has like a chapter, and so coming with a community of 700 students and then competing against this chapters that have so many members, it's kind of scary. But we've had very positive results in the last couple of years, which is very exciting for all of us.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome. If you're finishing second in competitions and top 5 in a state competition, that's a nice little feather in the cap type thing. So I'm going to ask each of you. We'll start with Hunter. We'll go to Paula, and then we'll come to you, Isaiah. Why did you join PBL?
Well, when you're in the honors program, you have to join PBL.
Okay.
So that first introduced me to it, and then I just kind of fell in love with getting to meet other people. It pulled me out of my bubble. I was more social, more outgoing, and all in all, it's been one of my best experiences at Weber.
Paula?
Yeah, my experience is similar to Hunter's. I was pulled in because of honors too, and I've also been more of a reserved or introvert person, so going to PBL kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone. You know, meeting all these people, doing all these presentations, and that just kind of made me feel more awake and introduce myself into the business world.
Isaiah?
I kind of got dragged into PBL with Hunter. So he would always bounce ideas off of me concerning PBL, and hearing him talking about it day in and day out kind of got me interested. So I decided one day to go to the meet and see what exactly PBL was. And once I saw it firsthand what it was, I kind of fell in love with the process and made my way into working my way into the club.
So they're both going to graduate. Are you going to stay in when they leave?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, okay. All right. What is good? You talked about meeting people. You talked about the programs. You talked about kind of the what is good about PBL to you? We'll start with you this time.
PBL gives me a chance to show the different sides of me as far as the different competitions I do, the presentations I do, and it shows people that I can work for them as far as future jobs and future internships and stuff like that. So,
Paula?
For me, the best part is seeing how people develop skills, like new skills, or maybe some of them they had and they didn't know about. So seeing people grow within our club is really exciting for me.
Awesome. And Hunter?
I would say the best part is getting to meet other people, and then you get the opportunity to work on your own abilities. Because of PBL, I became a better public speaker, a presenter, and just the friendships that you make out of it.
I was actually going to touch on that next part of that. My next question revolved around the networking and how important that is in today's business is not necessarily what you know, it's who you know that knows you know that stuff. And I just talking with all of you, I'm guessing the fact that you're forced into those public speaking moments. So let's start with you, Paula. That networking side, how big has that been in getting you ready for graduation and your future?
Well, in terms of Weber, because I don't do a sport, then I didn't have any connections, like relations. So when I came here, I was kind of by myself. But getting into PBL, I got to meet Hunter, I got to meet Isaiah, other people within the club. And then going to the competitions, I also got to meet other people. And I think the experience itself prepares me to, like, with my networking skills, to go into the business world eventually.
Perfect. Hunter?
No, networking is definitely something that's very important. The people that I've met through PBL and just learning how to be a better networker overall, there's been opportunities that have come along that wouldn't have been available otherwise. Like if I hadn't gone out of my way to talk to this person or just say hi, then a job opportunity might not have been available, or maybe down the line someone else will have something available because I went out of my way to talk to them.
And Isaiah, how's networking for you?
Networking has been really big for me. Different people that used to be part of PBL with different schools realize that I'm in PBL, and they come talk to me and ask my experiences, and we just make that connection, that relationship, that further down the line, once I graduate, become a senior, graduate, it would hopefully land me a job.
Now, this is one of those random questions that just popped in my brain while I was listening to you guys talk about that. It's for business leaders. It's for growth, entrepreneurship, straight business, makes you kind of work in groups. Who has been the coolest person that you guys have met or you've interacted with, whether that's in person or email, video, that kind of stuff, since you joined PBL?
I would say the coolest person that I met was Henry Vu. He joined PBL when I joined, and before I met him, I was really quiet, I kept to myself, and he was kind of the person who made PBL a much greater experience for me by dragging me out, and he made me go network and made me talk to people, and because of that, I just became a better person.
So we need to give a shout out to Henry Vu.
Definitely.
Very good. Anybody else?
I think I would say Dr. Muniz. I knew her before because of accounting classes, but still she makes such a big part of PBL's, just as Dr. Everly does. But Dr. Muniz is a more recent member of her club, and she's done a great job with it too.
Definitely. I have met my friend Jason, who graduated from UF, who's all part of PBL in that chapter. And we developed that relationship, and he's definitely talked to me as far as internships during the summer, coming to work for him and see how everything works. As far as for his business, he runs like a training facility, so that gives me opportunity to network and see how everything works in that business.
So we have Henry Vu, we have professors, we have students. So there is that true networking side, and I'm gonna say it too. I think Dr. Muniz definitely will pull you in somewhere. She comes across as someone who's not afraid to push doors open.
Okay.
So one of the big things that PBL does to kind of get excitement on campus is you guys host events and do things. Give me I know that we're in a different situation, but tell me what events you guys usually do and what events you're working on.
So we have several events throughout the year. We have Christmas, Thanksgiving, Valentine's, Easter. So right now we're preparing for Valentine's. We're selling wooden roses next week actually, and we might be having a Valentine's dance, but that's limited because of COVID and that we have to work differently. So we try to follow the guidelines along with our activities with the community. We also do Halloween and stuff for Weber and the Babson Park community.
Okay, so a wooden rose.
Yeah, wooden
Okay,
roses.
all right. What's the function for like Halloween and I believe there's also you guys used to serve Thanksgiving dinners and what do those events build and how do they benefit you and then how do they benefit the student body?
These events really benefit us because we learn how to plan events and how to organize it, make sure everything's in the right place, or to follow guidelines. And especially before COVID, we would reach out to the community and have members come for Trick or Trunk, have the kids come out, and that's how we were able to outreach with Weber. But during COVID, it's just been restricted to students on campus, so we've been outreaching to the students just to give them some semblance of a normal feel during this time.
Awesome. Isaiah, you got anything to add on that?
Definitely, the events we have definitely gives the students here a break from classes and sports and the everyday social life. Gives them a chance to relax and enjoy each other.
Perfect. And we are going to talk a little bit because like so many other organizations and not only PBL but the school itself has been so drastically affected by what COVID has done to things. How have you guys, because I figure that's a big thing for business leaders and people in your organization to work around, how have you guys learned how to work within those COVID restrictions?
We kind of learned to be adaptive, especially around these times because we don't know what exactly can happen the next day. Mm-hmm. So we kind of have to take one step at a time when we plan events and plan our competitions and try our best to see the best out of everything.
I would definitely say being adaptable and being able to change with the circumstances is important because one day you could have something planned and the next day restrictions got harder or someone had to quarantine and then you have to change around the whole thing. So you just have to be flexible with your schedule.
Perfect. All right, so let's get personal here real quick. We got 2 seniors. What are the goals? You walk in May, you walk in December, or maybe, I don't know how they're going to do that now with the, you may come back in the next May and walk, but you graduate. You're both graduating. What are we doing the day we graduate and where are we going and what is the goal?
That's something I'm still trying to figure out completely. I'm not sure where life's going to take me after graduation. Currently applying to some MBA programs to go get my master's because I really enjoy business and I want to be an entrepreneur and just grow businesses, be successful in life. But I'm still trying to figure that all out.
So the sport business management undergrad with a business MBA, entrepreneurial spirit, do you have an idea in your head like this is the direction you see yourself or is that still taking shape?
That's still taking shape. I know I want to diversify. I'm in stocks. I want to go into real estate.
Okay.
I want to just have a business that can help fund different things. So I'll have multiple streams of income coming in.
Fantastic. And Paula, you're a major in marketing, management and minor in marketing. Sorry, there was a lot of M's. So, what is your goal once do you want to stay in the U.S. or do you want to head back to El Salvador or somewhere else?
So as an international student, it's hard to build like an exact path being here. But when I graduate, I do know I want to do my year of work, which is called the OPT. Mm-hmm. After that, I do my master's. Looking forward to go to Europe actually, just to have a different experience because I've been here for 4 years already. After that, might go home, might just go somewhere else. I don't know where life's taking me at that point, but just try and focus.
I love the fact that there's that adventurous side. You've been here in the U.S. and working with so many international students throughout the years. That is one of those like I get to be here. I want to go check this place out, and I think that's awesome. And I think it's nice having that youth. You don't have to decide right now. It's nice to have that thought process, and you still have the options of turning. And for the young guy here in the group, you're a junior. Have you started and you're studying sport performance and health, and you're also minoring in sport management, business management. Do you have an idea of where the next 2 years take you?
I'm definitely trying to finish out my degree here. My MBA, I'm still deciding as far as where I want to go. I know in the future I kind of want to have that gym almost, where I can have a training facility, a rehab facility all in one.
Okay.
And kind of have that one stop for athletes to, grow and get stronger and faster and, give back to the community.
So all three of you mentioned the MBA, and it's something I follow a lot of business podcasts, a lot of marketing stuff. I do. Weirdly, I like random things. And there is talk now that the education side of things is maybe it got oversold. But all three of you mentioned MBA. Why do you feel that obtaining that MBA or the master's degree, why do you feel that's important still? Hunter, we'll start with you.
One thing that I think is really important about it is the people that you can meet that's going through the program as well, because they're all there to go into business. And if you don't want to start your own business and you get your MBA, then you have a higher chance to climb the corporate ladder and go towards the top, maybe be an executive or work towards CEO of a company. And that degree is going to help you get there.
Okay. Pal?
For me, it's more that management is such like a wide field. It can be very general. So I'm big into corporate sustainability right now. I'm looking for that. So going for a master's degree that's going to give me the knowledge to that kind of stuff, it's just what I want.
What do you feel creates corporate sustainability right now? I'm very curious.
I mean, it's hard to determine because some companies do it just because of the image, or some of them just don't want to get into it because it's expensive or that. But I feel like rather than trying to repair what the company has done, the damage, it has to be built on a basis of course corporate sustainability from the beginning, like actually a company that truly cares for the environment and the community itself.
Okay. So you don't want them just to talk about being zero carbon friendly and some of the marketing ploys that they have.
It has to be all parts of it.
Okay. And for you?
The MBA kind of adds that extra topping, I guess you can say, on your resume, because there's a million other people that's doing the same thing you're doing and going through the same process you're going through. So that MBA kind of adds that extra topping on it.
And if I may, I'm going to play devil's advocate for being at a school, and I think Weber has an amazing MBA program, but I always like to play the devil's advocate. What's the difference of getting an MBA in theoretical stuff versus going and putting that same amount of time and getting the work experience and maybe the lower position? Does anybody have a good rebuttal for that?
I would say either one can be really important. When you combine them together, that's going to be your best thing helping you in business. Say you go and do 2-3 years of work, and then you go get your MBA, you have some work experience so you can relate to the students and you can help grow, and then you get that degree and you can go even further up.
Okay. Anybody else got a rebuttal, or we all agree with Hunter?
That's what we agree on.
All right, we're gonna agree with Hunter on that one. I knew I kind of threw that one out there, but I was, it's kind of neat to hear your thought processes through that. Even though you are not an athlete, you get the same question, and we're gonna let you go first.
Okay.
What does it mean to be a warrior?
Wow. To be a warrior is, I feel like it's more of a responsibility to me. You represent the school, the face to the school, not only me, but everyone that goes here. Even if I'm not an athlete, I'm still a Weber warrior. So for me, just trying to put up the name of Weber.
And I actually need to change that. Maybe you're not an on-field athlete, but you are a competitor for the school.
Yeah.
And so you are competing for the brand. Isaiah.
What it means to be a warrior is kind of like a pride statement. To say that I'm a Weber warrior has meaning on the court, in PBL, in the classroom. It kind of a stample that I'm a Weber warrior and I'm proud to be.
And Hunter?
Well, when you look at what a warrior was the person who went out and fought the fight. You had someone who was directing them, but the warriors went out and they took the punishment and they still won. So being a warrior is someone who's going to go out and change the world. And even though it's not going to be easy, they're still going to push through and succeed in the end.
Very good. Very good. All three good answers. There is no wrong answer to being a warrior. It's very personal. The PBL is obviously housed within Weber, and each school has its own chapter. Are there ways for corporations to help with PBL? Is there any way for an outside corporation to assist, fund, sponsor? Is there anything that anybody that's watching this that may not be associated with Weber proper can help out?
Well, at the state and national level, there are already companies who will sponsor and provide money. If you win, say first place, you might get $1,200, which is pretty good sum of money. And there's even been opportunities or instances where someone's won at the national level, and right after they got off the stage, they were offered a job by the company that was sponsoring. Because say you work in finance and you sponsor a financial concepts test, and then someone gets first at the national level, you know they know what they're talking about. So that might be someone you want to look for hiring.
Okay. All right. Well, if you didn't know about PBL, you definitely learned today from 3 of the 4 members of the executive committee about what Weber offers through PBL and what these students put in. I named off 5 different competitions, 6 different competitions, and there are multiples of those. They compete statewide. If they do well in those, they get to compete nationally. And not only that, they also put a lot of time into making the experience of students on campus even better by offering events. And I think I may be buying some of the stuff that they offer. So I missed the donuts. I think someone did donuts and I missed that. Was that a PBL thing?
No, that was criminal justice.
Oh, okay. Well, I missed the donuts. But nonetheless, they do a lot of stuff on campus that make the campus experience better. And it makes them more disciplined. Listening to all 3 of them talk, they're eloquent. They understand they're not afraid of the camera. They're not afraid of the spotlight because they've already been put in those situations, which once you step outside of the college bubble, you're in the spotlight every single day. So hope you've enjoyed episode 18 of the Warrior Pulse. We appreciate you being here. Thank you, Hunter. Thank you, Paula. And thank you, Isaiah. I was going to say Isaac. Isaiah for joining us today. And we appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.